relationships, but you're wrong. Listen, there's no magic bullet. I'm teaching life skills.
When you're sick, you need medicine. It don't always taste good, but it'll get you better. You need this medicine. It ain't gonna always taste good, but this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space aliens. I'll save anybody, I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong.
Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I could be like you. But you could be me, you know why?
Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Man School 202.
Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't. Yo, GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, What Would Dante Do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted, and I am excited. This is a special show. I know I've said that 1,000 times before, but this time I mean it. This is going to be a good one. Harry, how you feeling, baby?
Oh, I'm doing great. Having a tough time keeping these gators down, even in the pandemic. I didn't know that would make it harder.
Yeah, it does. It does. But, you know, it gets easy when you practice. Dre, what's going on? Sporting a new baldy.
I just said, fuck it. Why not? You know? And now I'm thinking about pimping in the pandemic.
What
That'd be
happened?
funny. Pimping in the pandemic, like an actual pandemic pimping, how does that affect the economy of pimping?
It's harder.
I don't know, because you don't want nobody to sneeze on your dick and give you COVID.
How are hoes still hoeing at this time?
They're doing it with mask on and a hole in the middle.
A pimp they have to clean off their cane with like antiseptic after they hit their hose.
Did I tell you wash your hands?
Yeah.
We get a spike. We got a special guest in the building. Friend of the show, friend of me, I would say, even friend of me, friend of Andre's.
My name.
Harry don't like him really, but
he don't fuck with me.
He's all right.
Give it up for Phil Hunt, y'all. Give it up for Phil, Big Phil.
Yeah, let me hype myself up. We here.
So, they're gonna get on you about clapping in the cell, making noise when everybody when it's lights out time. Hold it down, motherfucker!
Apparently,
like I'm doing a podcast. What?
Dante feels that Phil's his accustomed lifestyle of living in a jail cell. Apparently, there ain't much. If you want to see the YouTube channel, you can see there is not much in the background of Phil's place. I think we could spot what maybe a mattress and or a futon, like just the soft part of the futon.
It's prison rules, so you know it is what it is. I had to do what I had to do in here.
Yeah, but what about before the pandemic? I feel like this is the way you were living the whole time.
Yeah, definitely. This is the way I live. I'm very stripped down, you know. I'm not very fancy. Not a whole lot of decorations going on.
How about
no
decorations? How about none?
Whole lot of decorations.
Not a whole lot. None.
A whole lot implies
a lot of people like to hang their accomplishments on the wall and shit like that, but not me. You know.
Well,
Phil don't even hang up his hack license.
If you guys want to see what it looks like, you could go to the YouTube channel and see fully that there is nothing behind Phil. It's kind of it's bringing us down, Phil. I'm not gonna lie.
You just said you
bumming
guys
us
are
out.
see nothing.
That hack license is for comedy and for cabin. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. You gotta. Every time I talk to you, I look at your background. I feel like I want to put something on your books. I just feel bad.
We should set up like a little fun real quick to help me get out of here.
Phil, when's visiting day? When can we come in?
Visiting hours?
Yeah.
They're over right now, man. Just in the morning.
One thing about Phil, if Phil bring a girl home, All she got is bed there, so she
Yeah.
knows she coming to fuck. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's no distraction. No TV in here, no nothing. So we getting right down to the point.
Damn.
There's
Like,
not even
what
an
you-
excuse to bring her home. Like, hey, we should watch a movie. Or something.
But they just sit on the edge of the bed and she go, "What you want to do? What you want to do?"
Hey,
You got
this
space for
is
two things in there: push-ups and sex.
This is for business back here. Now, see, out there, living room, that's for play. But back here, once you make it back here, you know what it is.
I'd
That's
love
it.
to know what the living room looks like. I got a feeling it's not going to be much better than the bedroom. I feel like you're going,
Good for you.
no,
You never know. Why don't you come over here?
oh boy, you're
check
not going
out
to trick
this
me.
Oh shit!
I know what's going on over there.
Phil, I think Phil trying to fuck you, Harry. What
Yeah, I
the fuck?
Too smart for that.
Been a
He
long
was like,
time
"Come
since
over
I've
and
seen a
see,
girl.
bitch."
Why don't you
Been
come
a long
over?
time since I've seen a girl. I've been inside here for so long. Harry's got that long hair.
Yo,
That's true.
Got that reach around.
Phil doing 2 to 10. Phil, what's going on, man? With your crazy ass? What's going on?
Man, I wish I fucking knew, right? 2020. What is going on? What ain't going on? Just
All
a
I
whole
want
bunch
to
of
know,
nothing.
I want to know is, have you tried any new cheeses? That's what I want to know.
Any new cheeses? Nah,
Now explain
man.
that to people, Dante. Can we explain that for people who are getting their first taste of
Phil, where you
Hunt?
from, Phil?
I'm from Indianapolis, so
So Phil came here, and years ago when I met Phil, he was like, "Yo, in New York, y'all got mad cheeses," and I'm like, "What the fuck is you talking about?"
this shit shocked his world, yo.
man, y'all do. I say it again. Y'all have a lot of cheese. It's an abundance of cheese. I mean, the pandemic might have slowed it down a little bit, but
No,
walk
because
in
the
y'all
cheese
grocery store.
ages, so they still got the same amount of cheese. It's
Yeah.
probably more expensive because it's aging. What kind of cheese they got in Indianapolis?
we got like 4 or 5 different cheeses. We got like American, cheddar. I don't know. What else?
Count.
That's it.
That's it.
That's about it.
America, cheddar.
Sometimes you.
You come here and y'all got like fucking stacks of cheese at the grocery store, like a whole aisle dedicated to it.
That
And I'm
all
just
the
like,
food is in stacks, Phil. All of it. All the food. That's how they put the food in there. They don't just lump it on the floor.
Phil usually stops. He shops at a bodega. So it's just you ain't got as many shelves.
Nah, I
and
don't even
shit.
get to come out of here to go to the bodegas. So you see where I'm at. I'm in a cell. So why wouldn't I be
You go
impressed by cheeses?
Right, you go right to commissary. Get some
Straight to
cookies,
commissary.
and some cigarettes, and then back to your room.
You melt that cheese on top of your grill in your cell. You're all
No
good to
shark
go.
cheese. That
No
can be
sh-
used to stab people. Shark cheese with the corners on the end. None of that.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But what you was talking about this? They were talking about the chick with Russle Simons, and she was, But what happens is some of them freeze up, like they freeze, and then it's like your job is on the line. Like they go in at Russle Simons heavy because of this, because
Damn,
he
Russell again?
Oh,
Yeah.
Russell's got multiples, man. Right
So
now.
they
at
were
this point.
gonna air it on HBO. I was just surprised they didn't keep the brand going and call it Deaf Sexual Misconduct Jam.
Fucking
That would have been great branding, right? If you're gonna put it on HBO. I mean, he practically built HBO. There's Deaf Comedy Jam, Deaf Poetry Jam, and
He has
Deaf
2 shows on
Sexual
there.
Misconduct Jam. Then they could sell it together like a little box set or something you could pick up.
That's too long. Go with Deaf Rape.
Yeah.
No, that's now nobody gonna buy that. See,
Everybody's gonna buy that for
that's
real.
like
They
how
were-
that girl was copped to, nah, we ain't fucking. But
Well, they were saying that Russell was saying, like Russell's joint was, he would be like, "Yo, check out the demo," and then he would come out naked with a condom on.
that's fucking wild,
He didn't
son.
even, there's no, that's just like the first part. You're supposed to do something like
check
come
out
to the
the
studio, come to the hotel room.
Like, go check the demos. It's
Yo.
in the CD player.
Then you turn around. It's just-
Is that how you get that platinum rush card? Is that how you get approved?
And here's the crazy thing, Russell is a little dude, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was arguing with a girl about this, and she was like, "That ain't rape." Like because some of the other girls, Like he like model chicks, and model chicks is big. They bigger than him. They taller than him. And a couple of them, like, he came out with this and they, like, punched him in the face and was like, yo, get the fuck out of here. And then, yo, I ain't doing this. And they broke out. But I'm saying the reality is that some women don't have that constitution.
Or they're not dealing with somebody who's that small and punchable.
Well, that's the thing now. We just can't do it. Like, back then, you were allowed
Phil, you look disappointed.
That sounded so sad.
He was like, yo, now we just
do
can't
it
even.
no more,
Listen,
man.
if we being real, we all got into entertainment because I saw shit like backstage and thought, if she'll blow the cameraman on camera and say she has a boyfriend, what would she do if I actually had talent?
That's not at all why most of us got into show business.
I got into this shit because I like jokes
a little
bit.
I mean,
no, not at all. Only you, Phil. Only you
nah,
sling jokes.
Phil was 9 years old and was like, wait a minute, they sucking dick backstage.
Hey.
And they got cheese in New York. I'm in.
Yo, did you see the cheese?
Baby, I'm slanging jokes.
Did you see the cheese platter in that green room with that blowjob that was going on?
Hey, it's better than fucking with the heavyweights.
But I don't understand, Phil. I thought you were into the heavyweights or not, because you're saying you like big girls. How heavy were the heavyweights?
They were very heavy. Like, they made the shocks on your car lean a little bit.
Oh,
like I knew when my friend had them with him, because I would see the car leaning a little and be like, he got the heavyweights with him.
You used to get happy when you seen that car. Like, I'm about to get
gonna be a good night.
When the bumper's scraping, you get fire coming out the back of the bumper scraping. You're like, oh shit! It's about to
get horny.
Like they were like Pun. They fell through an elevator shaft, and then they were in the house for 3 straight months and couldn't move. That's how they got.
They fell through a floor, like a regular floor. Just got out of bed, and fell through the floor. I didn't get into comedy because I was trying to get some pussy.
Well, I wasn't saying that. I'm saying we all know that comes with being in entertainment, right? I didn't even go into stripping because I thought I was gonna get pussy. Like, well, what'd you go into stripping for?
I wanted to make some money.
The art?
Actually, I ain't gonna lie. It was kind of the art. It was.
Okay, wait. So what?
Art to it.
I don't think we ever asked you why you went into this or how. Of all the stories I've ever heard, I don't know if I've ever heard the story of how you started it. Or why?
So I was in college. I was in college, right? I was walking around like Andre with a body, and bitches was throwing. With bigger arms though. And,
you mean Andre or the bitches? What are you talking about?
Both.
Oh, okay. Bitches had bigger arms.
It was the 90s, and everybody had a dick slapped across their face.
And I was I was living with this girl. Actually, I was living with a girl. She lives around the corner from me right now. She's married, and we were living together. And then I was thinking I could do like mail review, like strippergrams and stuff like that, and make some money, some side money. I was up in SUNY New Paltz, and I even went to as much. What did I say? It was I had a goofy business card with a top hat and gloves. That was my logo. It was a top hat, gloves.
Kill yourself. That's terrible.
This was before, and then I'm a Q dog, right? So they each Black Greek letter organization, the male ones, were doing a Toys for Tots, and they wanted each fraternity to be represented. And I will say this: I was not their first choice. There was this other dude that was like bodybuilding. He was crazy. And they want him to do it, but he backed out like 3 days before the show. So they was like, what other crazy motherfucker could we get to do this, right? And somehow my name got floated. That was weird, right? So I had this idea of doing this thing
with like this African.
To raise money is what? What type of show? Is this like a talent show or something?
All male review
at the college.
It was not at the college. It was each fraternity was represented out of all the SUNY colleges, and somebody promoted it, and then we were supposed to do. You had to get your costume, and it was the Kappas.
This is the strangest shit I've ever heard, though. That's how
they're
raising money.
The name Mandingo. Did you give yourself that name?
Yes, I did give myself that name. So what happened was there was a movie by Ken Norton, dope movie called Mandingo, and he was like a fighter. You know how they did in the Django, where they were fighting black dudes like pit bulls.
Yeah. So the tournament,
like Ken Norton, the boxer that beat Muhammad Ali, broke Muhammad Ali's jaw. He was in there. He started. His name was Mandingo. And then I saw there was one of the first epic series called Shaka Zulu.
I remember Shaka Zulu.
And the guy, the head, he had like a feather headdress and stuff. And I was, as a kid, me and my sisters was watching that. And there's a scene where he goes and claims, let me see if I can find it. He claims his throne back. Like he's like a bastard and what you call it, claims he goes to claim his throne
Kingdom?
back. Yeah.
So you watched all of this stuff and got inspired, and you was like, "I'm gonna do all of this stuff."
That was
but
in
then
my
I'm gonna
head.
take my dick out at the end.
No, it was like he what happened was he claims his thing back,
his throne,
and he's dressed in the garb, and I'm sitting there with my sisters because it's funny because I was like, it was like their response to him was what got me, like how they responded to this dude in the way that they responded to him when he walked in. Like, hold on, can you see that?
No,
hold on, let me share it. It's still going. We gotta find out how to get the sound up for this shit. Okay, hold on. Hold on. So here's what I saw. When this nigga walked in, like this is what I saw. When I was a kid, we was watching this. I don't even know what year this was, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Can you see that?"
Yeah, we're watching it.
So you see, he had the headdress and how everybody's moving out of his way, and this nigga's ripped up. My sisters looked at this and they were like, Now, they were all like, God damn. They were like, feeling this nigga, right? And I didn't understand, like, because I was younger, but my sisters are very different in terms of, like, my older sister, she always dated broke dudes, but they were, like, romantic, you know? And she dated broke dudes. My middle sister always dated guys with money and cars and jewelry, but he was they would always be abusive. So they would always be fucking her up and shit. All
right, that's I think I don't want to get a copyright claim. I think we're seeing enough of the clip there. Sorry.
That's great that you drew inspiration from that. I never saw that. I always heard the name, but
yeah,
it looked like some kind of cross between, like, that was y'all Black Panther or y'all.
Well, yeah, that was it. And my sisters were like, God damn, like all three of my sisters. But so my middle sister liked ugly dudes with money, real smooth motherfuckers, but they always ended up being abusive. And my younger sister always liked handsome dudes, athletic, with good bodies, athletic, but they were usually not that smart. You know what I mean? So
it's a trade-off.
Right. So as a kid, I was like, yo, and I know this is gonna sound weird, but it was like, if I was a guy who would appeal to all three of my sisters, I would have it all, right? So it'd be a good-looking guy with a nice body, with money and style, romantic and kind in the same thing. And they literally, like, my older sister would always date these broke dudes who were real nice, like average looking, but they would be like, let's go to the park. Let's have a picnic, you know, like free shit.
Yeah, free shit.
And you never called that out and was like, yo, you know he always doing free shit.
Well, I was younger. I mean, my older sister was young. I got one sister that's 3 years older than me. And they were all very different. And I was like, if I could get the best of all of that, I was thinking that as a kid, you know, because you horny and you know, you're like, how am I going to work this out so I can get mad puss?
Yeah, you seeing what girls are responding to. But me, I just watched backstage and was like, I don't know, carrying the camera, being
started writing jokes.
Yeah,
you didn't even freestyle. You should have freestyled instead of told jokes.
But the dude wasn't rapping; he was just with them. It was a cameraman.
Oh, and when you say cameraman, was he just a guy with a holding like a camcorder? Or was he part of the crew?
He literally passed them the camera, and then they showed her in the stall doing the act on camera. And I was like, wow, entertainment's kind of crazy.
Then you started singing "There's no business like show business."
And then Phil said, you know what I'm going to do? Tap dance. That's where all the women are.
Show business leads to hoe business. That's what I learned. So,
I remember seeing that, and I was like, so when I was trying to put the character together for this thing, I was like, yo, I remember that that my sisters are very different, and it affected all of them in the way because he was so strong, which is really interesting, Harry, because I think that was the beginning of me starting to figure out how women perceive attraction.
So that's how you sort of started to view it. Yeah, because that is kind of the foundation of everything, if you think about it, that you're building off of like, all right, what are the best elements I could have? What are these women attracted to? And how can I, it's like the equivalent of Bruce Lee mastering all of the martial arts.
Styles, yeah.
So that he could
put them together. Yeah. So you realize
I realized that character was something that appealed to all women across the board, no matter what, you know, like, so here I had 3 sisters who were very different in terms of how they saw attraction. But that thing of him marching and the
she had all of them.
The people open up and he's in this thing, like, I was like, yo, and then, because it was, I mean, that's also how you know you're not gay, because I didn't look at him and go, ooh, something about him. But it affected my sisters, and I remember that.
That was the test.
And then I started to kind of figure it out and start picking it apart. What year is that, Harry?
I don't know. Let me look. Are you eating something, Dante?
No, not at all.
So you think? Here's what I want to ask you. You think if you were a younger dude, would you do like the whole OnlyFans thing? Would you be a Mandingo?
What do you mean?
Have you seen the OnlyFans stuff?
Would you do porn is basically what he's asking. Would you or would you do
as
webcam
he rubs
stuff?
His face, he's like, would you do a little bit of that OnlyFans?
I'm like, hold on now.
Little Mandingo brother.
He's in jail.
Like
Bill is in jail. Yo, you mind? He's like, yo, you don't mind dancing around a little bit, do you?
Let's say that a pandemic
is gone as we know it. So you might want to adjust. You might want to bring the Mandingo back.
You talking about when they do the happy birthdays and shit? They do the recordings with the happy birthdays.
Nah, it's like some dudes doing the webcam shit now, and they like sell it online. You ain't seen OnlyFans? That shit is amazing. That shit is amazing.
Nigga, you sound like your hands is moisturized.
He keep doing this too.
Wonder why my right arm bigger than my left. Listen here.
Yo, that shit is amazing. It's mad. Yo, it's mad dudes on there.
Nah, not the dudes. I don't be on that side. But I'm just saying, hold on, how you gonna strip and then throw it back on me?
You gonna throw it back on you?
Because I'm masterful, Phil. Because I'm masterful. That's why.
Are there ever any men inside the strip joints? Like, do you make them cover their eyes? What do you do if there's a dude?
He's not supposed to be watching. I mean, you know, what do? You do what you do. And then if they, you know.
1986, by the way, is
86.
That's a TV series, a South African TV series.
Yeah. So I was like 20 something like that.
Henry Seeley?
Yeah.
Is that the guy's name?
I think so.
That
was the time I started picking it apart. Like, yo, what's going on with this? Is that the year? You sure?
I don't know. That's what I pulled up as let's see, 1964 film. No, Zulu. Shaka Zulu.
It's Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu is a 1986.
Black people can see what year that came out in.
86. That would make it had to be before that.
It had to be before 86?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Dante was born before 86.
Well, yeah, I know that.
I was born in 86, so I'm over here like, wait, what? Shaka Zulu?
Was it a movie
or
a
TV
show?
Like
it was a series
version or something.
So here's what you got to tell us, Dante. What were like your top 3 names in your mind that you could have been?
That didn't end up happening.
Oh, so before that, I did one on campus first, and I was looking for a thing, and all I could find was a big baloney, like a huge baloney.
I'm baloney man.
An actual baloney.
Actual baloney.
That was next to the cheeses.
I had a paper hat and one of those. I used to call them what did I call myself?
The sandwich maker?
No, it was like
Oscar Mayer.
He forgot. Most
meat
people
wagon,
don't have
or was it meat wagon or meat something?
You was high in cholesterol.
Yeah, it was meat something.
Look at Andre. He had to clean his eyes right. Hold on.
I think it was like I was like a butcher. I was dressed like a butcher, and I had the meat.
You want me to carve the meats, girl?
I had a big bologna.
So how does that work? Like, as far as stage time, is it similar to comedy?
It was such an easy transition from stripping to comedy because it's the same thing. It's like you do your act independently, you develop it, you promote it. You have to, there was no social media, but you passed out your business cards and you networked like that, and you would show up to different shows and pass out and then you would ask to tip out. Tip out was like getting a guest spot. So they would have the main guys doing their stage act, and then every once in a while they would put a guy out for free. You didn't get paid, and they would let you strip for free just for tips. And whatever tips you made, you got to keep. But I would do that, and then I would do my whole stage act. Where guys would be trying to get the money, I would do my whole stage act, and then hand out my cards, and then make private shows, get private shows, and bachelor parties and birthday parties. But it was the same thing. And then it was very like kind of like wrestling, Harry, like where you have regions. So you have Brooklyn,
territories.
Queens,
separate territories.
If you dance in Brooklyn, the dudes in Queens wouldn't fuck with you. If you danced in the Bronx, the niggas in Manhattan, it was just, and then
y'all was like gangs. It was like warriors, but with y'all ass cheeks out in the back of the
But ironically, the exact same costumes. The exact same costumes.
Same, and then what happened was, so there was a few guys that were so popular that they superseded the territories, just like wrestling, right?
Yeah,
on occasion, yeah. They were like Ric Flair, the traveling champion.
Right.
He could work anywhere pretty much.
So what were like the parameters? Is it like you can only take your dick out at the end of your act, or you could just walk around?
It was a free for all.
It was a free for all. No rules. You just do whatever.
It was like Common. You could do like Common.
It was long as it was the 90s.
You could do it like Common, like Russle Simons. You could come out just with a condom on if you want. But we didn't use condoms because we didn't believe it.
Just you mean in condoms in general?
We didn't believe in AIDS. We didn't believe it.
Condoms were a myth. You're like that's.
It was all. We don't believe it.
But see, that's what I mean. Even with like Russle Simons, it's hard the stories he's telling. It's like I wasn't alive in the 80s when people was coked up. So like judging yesterday's people by today's standards, you always gonna find somebody did some shit wrong. Yeah. Even like the Christopher Columbus statue, right?
Yeah.
But nowadays, if a motherfucker is young and is thugging, they like, he a product of his environment. I'm like, Christopher Columbus a product of his environment too.
Yeah, it's like when they go back to slavery, and they were like, "Come on, everybody was owning black people back then."
Yeah.
Shut up, Phil. I was being sarcastic.
I would have had a slave. You got an iPhone now. What do you think?
Phil, wait, hold on. Did you just say I would have had a slave?
Hell yeah, if it was allowed.
Oh, Phil. Oh,
I'm
sweet,
not that,
innocent, stuck inside a small room, Phil.
This guy had his dick in a sock, smacking people in the face, and you're gonna judge me for saying I had a slave. I would have. I'm just saying. Where do you draw the line at?
Slavery. That's where I draw the line.
That's
where. Time out.
Owning people. Maybe that.
Owning people.
Maybe.
That's where I draw the line.
Well,
I don't
it's not
know.
like Christopher Columbus had an iPhone. That's like 2 slaves in your pocket right there.
Wait, what is the conversion rate that you get 2 slaves for 1 iPhone?
How is it 2 slaves, Phil? This is the thing about with Phil. It always goes left. It always.
Listen, children make iPhones and they can't even afford that iPhone. So
a preteen made mine.
So here's what I'm saying. Tomorrow, they might decide having iPhones was wrong. We all fucked. You gonna tear down the Mandingo statue because of that? I don't think so.
Yeah.
We product.
Yo, I just want
to tear it down. Absolutely gonna tear it down.
I just want to send Phil to every local news station anytime they do a story about anything. Just have Phil, whatever the thing is, have Phil defend it. No matter
y'all
what.
Don't think y'all would have had slaves?
I know we wouldn't because we were black.
Yeah,
so no.
Yeah.
If you were allowed to, is all I'm saying. I don't see the point in judging yesterday's people by today's standards. It's kind of dumb.
Oh boy.
Well, Phil, here's the point. It's not that you judge them by, you're judging them by today's standards. What you're saying is that this is, as we know more, we're supposed to do better. And so when they're taking the statues down, because these were exploitive people who basically murdered, raped, and killed people. So these aren't people that, look, murder and rape was never okay. It was okay. It was legal to rape and murder black people. It was
BC. To be fair, it was BC, so that was before consent.
What was before BC?
No, he's saying before
the times. If it was in BC, that was before consent.
Phil, here's what I'm going to say to you. When you talk about chattel slavery in this country, you're talking about historically something that didn't exist anyplace else. Did slavery exist? Yes, but not chattel slavery, where you had people, you brought the slaves here, you bred them and their children and their children's children's and their children's. So even when people talk about slaves like Africans selling slaves, the slavery that they had, like for instance, here's an interesting thing. The Shaka Zulu, the story of Shaka Zulu.
Right. He
was a bastard child. His mother never married the king, and so he was a bastard child, and so he was thrown out of the tribe, and he took his mother because they were going to kill him. He was a slave in another tribe, but he worked he was able to show his value to the tribe, and then he ultimately became this. Now, if you know the story of Shaka Zulu became, like they study Shaka Zulu's, his army techniques. Right. He innovated weapons and stuff and really made the Zulu tribe, what they were, that they were the fiercest African tribe. And so he went from slave to being basically king. And then the Zulu tribe, they came and they let him reclaim his throne.
Right. But
so that was not...
You're not telling me as a black man that slavery was wrong. I get that, right? But all I'm saying is that's what they did. Meaning Christopher Columbus, he couldn't go work at a factory at Google. It's not like he had monsterjobs.com. Back then, being a conquistador, that was what people did. It was like the military.
Wait, Christopher Columbus has nothing to do with that per se. I mean, yes, they were slaves, and you're talking about Queen Ferdinand, but the reason why people talk about Christopher Columbus was because he was a charlatan, and he didn't do any of what they said that he did. And I had this conversation with somebody before about how I was with Dan Natterman, and he was like, well, if he inspires people to do great things, what difference does it make? And what I would say to that is this: if you're Italian American and you have to make a story up, make up a myth,
right?
To have somebody that inspires you, then it's an insult to you as an Italian American. It's really
Christopher Columbus, and then it's Rocky, and it's like 400 years between the two. And now, Rocky may have done more than Christopher Columbus.
Rocky definitely did.
I'm not defending him. In fact, I find it funny the amount of security the statue has in the middle of Columbus Circle. There's like 4 cops guarding that shit at all times.
But now here's the thing with that though. So I had this conversation when he was like, "Well, if it inspired," no, because it's an insult to Italians to worship for the way they give him a day and all of this. Because it's a Google away. If you Google influential Italians, there's Italians have done amazing shit. I mean, first of all, Amerigo Vespucci is the one that found America. Not that he found it, because it was already.
He's a map maker.
But he was a map maker. So, but they just created this character, and then they built this character where he was a charlatan and a con man and all of this.
They built up that character to sell books. I mean, that's the historical fact about Christopher Columbus, that he didn't really do much. And as far as, again, he didn't discover America. And the other thing they don't mention too is that his whole crew was a bunch of convicts and murderers and rapists, because they let him out of jail because nobody else would go on the
trip because they thought that.
All I'm trying to say is they didn't have jobs like we had. Like, they may say podcasting is wrong.
Nigga, they could have sold rice. They could have fucking herded cattle.
You don't know that.
You don't have to rape.
You do know that.
Grow grass,
how much money you making selling rice?
Ask Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is they didn't have regular jobs. So who am I to judge?
Wait a minute. So you don't think nobody had regular jobs back then?
If Columbus could have worked for Uber, he probably would have.
Stop saying companies, nigga. They had to farm. They had to make meat. They had to fucking clothes. They had to get water. They had to make fucking fur and
not only that,
shit. And boats. Nigga had to build boats.
They had to kill their own food. So who the fuck are y'all to call him lazy?
What?
You never killed your own food? You go to the supermarket and pick it. It's already there for you.
Phil,
I
want to kill you. I want to kill you. That's what I want to. Look, Phil, you're bugging the fuck out. If you think that you're gonna tell me there was no morality, there was no jobs, there were blacksmiths.
I said it was
carpenters.
wrong.
Yeah, there was iron makers.
I don't think he had a lot of options.
How do you fucking know that? How do you know that?
Y'all can't prove that he did. It's not like he could have worked for Google.
Absolutely can say that he did.
Like he could have been an Uber driver.
Where the fuck? What do you think Michelangelo was doing? He was painting. There were Italian
no job. That shit don't pay nothing.
It's paid now.
Are you crazy?
Years after. But
No.
when he was alive.
You don't think he got paid? He got paid to paint the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, that's how commission works.
He did get paid. You right. Sistine Chapel. I forgot about that.
You don't think he got commissioned to pay
but was
to
that
pay people?
Before or after Columbus? That was the Renaissance era, right?
Are you trying to tell me that you think there were no jobs because we didn't have iPhones and lots of cheese? That's what you think?
All I'm saying is that conqueror was a job. The military today, y'all know what we do overseas? We take shit from people. We are conquerors. We plant our flag.
And and that is wrong. And that's wrong.
Exactly.
Okay.
But why don't those guys go work at Google, Phil? Why don't everyone go work at Google?
Why don't they drive Uber? Why they don't drive Uber?
Because they're not paying for college. That's how my father got in the military. Steady paycheck, baby. But people don't understand what the military is. It's a modern day.
Hey, Phil, are you writing speeches for Kanye West? What's going on now?
Man.
Frederick Douglass ain't freed no niggas. He only found, I don't know. I ran out of stuff.
I mean,
first of all,
was
it's not the modern day conquistadors. If you want an equivalent to modern conquistador, that would be more like the mercenaries. like the Black Ops guys.
I mean, but we can't really document SEAL Team 6 like that. So, and all that,
I'm not talking about SEAL Team 6. What I'm talking about is mercenaries, like the same mercenaries they had during Katrina that they put on the bridge to keep black people from trying to get to the high ground in the rich white neighborhoods. Mercenaries that they paid black ops, and mercenaries that they used in Iraq and Iran. Now, I'm not saying that that's not a job. I'm just saying it's an immoral job and it's not right. So stop. You don't give people who are murderers and they make this choice to be dirtbags. You don't give them props for being dirtbags. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, you're not wrong in what you're saying. I just don't see no point when we got the dude that murdered George Floyd out here on the loose. Like, let's arrest him. What is tearing down a statue really doing for me in the modern day?
I'll tell you what. That's a good question. All right, you asked the question. You want me to answer the question? Because everybody looks at this whole. They look at this Uncle Ben's and the Aunt Jemima. What does it do for me? What you don't understand is the reason why George Floyd got killed is because of Uncle Ben's and because of Aunt Jemima. What you don't understand is that just because they didn't, the guy who kneeled on George Floyd's neck was a guy who didn't see humanity in George Floyd. He didn't see any humanity in him. It's because he has been programmed to not see humanity. And how do you program to people to not see humanity? You have to dehumanize them. And you are talking about 400 years of the dehumanization of black people in every sense possible. When black people were considered when white folks were trying to justify slavery, they said that black people are durable and they're docile and they make good slaves. And then when they were freed, they said they're lazy and shiftless and they're wild and we can't control them. So you have you're adjusting this narrative over and over again to dehumanize the people. President Lincoln said,
I understand that. And
well, then when you say what does tearing the statue down is to act as if it doesn't affect you because you think you're above it, but you're not above it. And I'll tell you why you're not above it. I've used this example for myself over and over again. You were just talking about backstage. If you grew up hip hop, right? If you grew up in hip hop, you're homophobic. You can't not be homophobic and grow up in hip hop because the programming of hip hop early on, if you're your age, definitely my age, it was all homophobic and misogyny, right? That's what it was, and it was the standard of the way that we acted. Now, if you have this standard that's always present, it's easy to get a chick drunk or to gang rape a chick or make a bitch suck your dick in the bed.
Nah, it ain't easy. That's wild. and mind you, rap is entertainment. So, like when what's his face died? What was the rapper Pop Smoke?
Wait. Why are you saying because it's entertainment? I don't understand what you're talking about.
Meaning, I hate that people. Rappers say, yo, I'm real all the time, and people take that and they act like it's not an art. You know, Snoop Dogg raps about bagging hoes. He's been married for 20-something years. You know what I'm saying? It's art. So all I mean to say is, like I said.
Okay, so let me ask. Yeah, but what does that have to do with the way that people perceive? You don't think? I mean, I've done. Like, I had to snitch on Blacklist when I came around the hood. They was like, "Oh, you snitching, nigga?" I'm like, "No, it's a part." What I'm saying is those tropes and those images affect people, and it affects people the way they see us. The reason why you see, how many times have you seen the Karen videos where the chick, she goes, "I'm a white woman." And you're a black man who I feel afraid for my life. You're threatening my life. You know why she's doing that? Because she knows that
that they're gonna believe that. It's believable.
And why do they believe that so readily? You can have a guy in a suit with a bow tie and a briefcase, and they still believe.
Right. But I'm saying to you, that they believe what they believe, and tearing down a statue ain't
No.
that.
They don't believe what they believe. They believe what they believe now. How do they get to the point where they believe these things?
They believe them because they believe them, and this
No.
is what I'm saying.
No.
So,
Nobody believes what they believe just because they believe it.
To your point about rap, you know, like they always say, what was Christopher Columbus listening to when he was doing all that raping, robbing, stealing, and killing? He wasn't listening to rap, so everybody act like rap is so bad and like it's putting thoughts in people's heads.
That's the point. But why did people say rap was bad? Because it was basically a black art form, and it was a way to dehumanize black people, which is why. And how do you dehumanize those people? How do you get those people to the point where people believe the hype? They believe. You know why they shoot Tamir Rice? They shoot Tamir Rice because they don't see a 9-year-old boy as a 9-year-old boy. They see him as a 9-year-old black man that is aggressive, and because this is what they have been saying: oversexed, aggressive, unruly. These are things that have been going on. If you read Stamp from Life or White Rage or any one of these books, they'll talk to you about the things that you're talking about.
With you here. We're saying the same thing.
Lincoln said, I would do anything to save the Union. If it meant freeing the slaves, I'm willing to do that. And if it doesn't, I'm willing to do that as well. All he cared about was keeping the Union together. And he says, as I perceive, there is a hierarchy of society, and white people are at the top of that hierarchy. That's what the great that's what the great emancipator said. So when we call him the great emancipator, and we look at his statue as if he freed the slave, he didn't free the slave. First of all, he only freed 50,000 slaves, while he left 2 million in bondage.
Black people basically freed themselves. A lot of the Southern slaves agreed to fight for the South, which is the dumbest shit any white person could ever believe. Like, oh, I'm gonna help myself stay in slavery, and then they turned on the Southern Confederates and helped the North basically win. So yeah, absolutely, I agree with everything you're saying.
But I'm saying, how do we get to?
I'm saying is, hold on, they still gonna kill Tamir Rice. You can keep taking statues down. They feel the way they feel. No. We try to turn it on ourselves or act like it's images. You believe what you believe.
Something. Let me ask you something. Do you say the F-bomb on stage anymore?
Here or there, yeah, all the time.
You say faggot on stage.
Oh, you that F word. Nah, but I mean, I'm of a certain age that I know that offends people.
Okay, but what I'm saying, there was a time when all you gotta do is look at Eddie Murphy's Raw, and that was commonplace. The joke he does about gays is not even a joke. All he says is "fuck you in the ass." I want to fuck you in the ass. Look at my it wasn't even a joke. It wasn't even a constructed joke. But why is it that that's not okay now? It's because there is a movement to not normalize that behavior, and so
absolutely.
So the same reason why Tamir Rice gets killed or George Floyd gets kneeled on is because there's a normalization of the abuse of black people, and people think what they're going to think, but when there are repercussions for what you do, and we start to remove these racial tropes, that is what starts to change people.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that judging yesterday's people by today's standards. So to do that to Eddie Murphy would be if we started taking down all his records and don't play this and don't play this. Like, no, look at the date it was made. It was made in 1984. So your level of how angry you get should be based upon when it was made, not how we feel today. So all I was saying was,
but you don't keep playing those records and do it in a way that, look, if that's what you want to go into, then put it in a museum and say, yo, this is you want to know what the true history is. But when
now you look like trash even going into the museum. People like, wait, what you going in there to do?
Well, here's the thing, but you're saying don't pull a statue down. It's exactly what you need to do is pull a statue down. The statues, because when you put a statue up, what are you doing? You're giving this person admiration.
You're honoring the person.
You're honoring them.
I think it's a reminder of where we've been, and history repeats itself. so not to make the same mistake.
That's not why we put up a statue.
That's so ridiculous. We already know that Columbus was a fucking charlatan and a con man and a murderer. So if you put him up there, people will never know that, because then they write the songs and the poems.
There was a book, a coloring book for kids, or a children's book. They put the slave wearing the same clothes that George Washington was wearing, and the slave was smiling. So all I'm saying is we're starting to erase history a little bit to where it's like, nah, keep it raw. People need to know the truth and how fucked up we were.
Phil, that's not why people put up statues. People put up statues to honor people. Nobody is putting up a statue of Bill Cosby today, right? No one's like, we got to get an R. Kelly statue. We got to start a GoFundMe to build a statue for R. Kelly outside like the school gymnasium. Like, statues are there to honor people. That's it. So this myth that it's there to preserve history.
Okay, well, now y'all conflating what I'm saying. I'm not defending R. Kelly.
You love Bill Cosby, Phil. You said it. We all know it.
R. Kelly was not a conquistador. He didn't do nothing but conquer children's ass. So we're not talking about that.
So did Columbus.
Listen.
Yeah, but could Columbus drop a beat?
I don't even fuck with science, because
wait, I'm sorry. Did you just say I don't fuck with science?
Yeah.
Okay, go on. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that that's what you said. Please go on.
Science told you that black people were 3/5 a man and they had a brain this big. Then it told you that trans was a mental illness. Then it changed. So that's all I'm saying, is that I think we get too caught on what's going on in the now. And it's like, fuck all that. How you really feel? So that's how I feel.
But that's not how you really feel. What you really feel is shaped by the images and the tropes that you're exposed to. You're programmed into that, and you have to deprogram yourself. You didn't just start out.
Like I said, if you're gonna say you were programmed, right, and you're gonna say Columbus was a rapist, murderer, this or that, what was he watching? What was he listening to, right? So hold on, let me finish. Dylan Roof, that murdered 9 black people in the church, he wrote a manifesto. It was like 9 pages. It basically said that black men are coming to rape white women. Now, you know about Birth of a Nation, right?
Sure.
That's the same shit. But I'm saying, if we're not designed to just be crazy and think bad thoughts with no art or no...
Okay, wait. Okay, Birth of a Nation. Do you know when Birth of a Nation... You know they played Birth of the Nation...
At the White House.
At the White House. And everybody thought
last
it was...
week, by the way. Last week. It was crazy. Sold out.
Herman Cain was there at the
They played it at his... So what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying is that programming has been present forever. These are the same racist tropes over and over again. The programming goes, and so Dylan Roof gets caught up in this programming, this false programming. Whereas if they had told the real story of this or the real history of this, maybe Dylan Roof wouldn't have got caught up in that shit. So you have
saying things don't come from nowhere, but I'm also saying those thoughts are in people's brain. They existed long before any types of art. Like I said, what were all these?
That's not true.
And it definitely doesn't happen because Aunt Jemima's in the kitchen, like because of pancake mix. Nah, you just racist.
You're oversimplifying this to look. Yeah,
and also
right.
over conflating it at the same time. It's an amazing.
I don't know how you're doing. Phil is out of his fucking mind. You gotta have a level of insanity where you agree with me, disagree with me, and say stuff that has nothing to do with the same topic.
All
it's amazing.
I'm saying is,
I want to know all you're saying.
Would still be dead, even if Aunt Jemima wasn't in the kitchen on some pancake mix. You're not changing nobody's heart. So all this fake symbolism.
That's not true.
Oh, we're going to paint Black Lives Matter in the middle of the street. You're going to run out of paint. You kill so many fucking black people. It's annoying to me. And it's insulting.
How do you run out of paint? It's not made with black people's blood. Is that what you think is going on, Phil?
No, Phil. I'm saying you're having to write a lot of fucking names. Phil,
so how do you think that George Floyd wouldn't be dead?
No, he's saying he would still be dead. It doesn't matter.
My point is what would change? What would change that? What would change the callousness of people just killing somebody, laying on somebody's neck for 9 minutes? What would change that?
Change it? I mean, that's a hard thing to ask. It's crazy.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. It's there's a question of how we got to this point where you dehumanize black people. How did we get here?
And not just dehumanize, people are making money off of it. Like I saw a mask the dude was selling that said, "I can't breathe." And it's like, I'm not wearing no fucking mask that says "I can't breathe" on it. Like, that's too much irony for me. Like, I get the t-shirts, but it's like everybody's making money. I saw a white dude selling Black Lives Matter shirts.
My brain is tired.
Yeah.
But Phil, let's stay on one thing. You said that he would be killed anyway. My question to you was, how do you change those ideas? And you said that's a hard question. And I said it's not. And I'm going to say it's not because the reason we know how we got to this point where you look at black men and that's what white people see of you. Savagery, violence, this, that, and the other. This is why you see, get on the floor, lay on the floor. This is why there is a reason for that. And if you read the history of it, you'll read that this was on purpose. It wasn't always like that. This was a narrative that slave owners presented on a cultural level to justify the fact that they were going to enslave people and use them for free labor for 400 years. And so in order for humanity to be able, for white folks to be able to look over the humanity of black people, they had to dehumanize them. And that was a very specific thing, including Aunt Jemima, including Uncle Ben's, including minstrel shows, including the things that they said, the Hottentots. When
you're right in what you're saying. Yes, definitely they use imagery and they use movies and different things like that to dehumanize us. That is true. But what I'm saying is, going back and tearing down statues, it ain't helping the future. It ain't stopping nobody from not being racist. If Dylan Roof didn't get that idea because he walked past the Confederate statue.
No, the Confederate flags were things that had a certain ideology that was created to dehumanize black people, to keep black people in place. Absolutely, Dylan Roof is I guess a product of Confederate flags and the Confederation and Robert Lee.
He was in South Carolina, and that was the last.
That's not what I'm talking about. You're trying to say it as if there's a direct.
Saying, that's the last state to fly the Confederate flag. So you have a point, meaning like.
Well, technically,
yes,
Georgia
or
Mississippi,
the
rather.
Past ain't changing the future. Tearing down statues from the past ain't helping.
It's not. I think it's also a respect thing, and also kind of a group of people going, you are going to stop fucking with us in every way that you've been fucking with us.
Right.
Because I don't think that black people would give a fuck about the flag if everything else was fine.
So,
but it's not fine.
Remember Huckleberry Finn? Or is
yes,
it Tom?
He says nigger all through
Jim,
it.
Right? They're taking Nigger Jim out the book. And at a certain point, I'm like,
he just got invited to the White House last week.
Nigger Jim?
Yeah. Donald Trump invited him to the White House. They had to inform that he's not a real guy, and he's like, "What do you mean? Are you sure? Can we Google it?"
I mean, doesn't Frederick Douglass know him?
Yeah,
I think
somebody give me a phone book so I could look him up.
They're taking him out of the book, and I'm saying leave him in there. People need to know how fucked up we were.
Yes, I don't disagree, but what you're talking about is that there needs to be real education. The true education of it needs to be in place. And when you look at Confederate statues are to adorn these people. Why do you think they're so big? Why do you think you look up to them? Why do you think that there's so much? Because it is to admire these people.
Unless you start putting plaques over there and talking about what a douchebag Robert E. Lee was.
You know what? Yeah. It's fine. I don't have a problem leaving it up if you're going to tell a true story. Right. If you're going to put a plaque up and tell the story about who this dirtbag was, leave it up.
Or at least put up a
I'm all about leaving it up.
Robert, small dick in parentheses Lee. Something.
That's all I'm saying is that they're somewhat erasing our history to the point where, like I said, you got children's books now where slaves were smiling, and even this whole lie of immigrants built this country. Immigrants, we weren't fucking immigrants. So immigrants did not build this country. This country was built by slaves. So, but that's what I'm saying.
Phil is so confusing.
All over the place.
Oh my God. It's like, what
I talked to somebody and they told me that shit. Immigrants built this country. And I said, I'm not a fucking immigrant. And I don't even like the way I'm classified.
Phil, are you voting for Trump in this election?
Yeah, man. He's like, maybe.
Nah, I'm not voting, but I don't know.
Of course you're not. Of course you're not. Why would you be? Of course.
Just fuck that. I'm a person with no identity in this
country,
I'm not.
Right? Here's what Phil's gonna do. He goes, I'm not gonna vote, but I am going by the voting booth just to hang out. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna get free cheese samples.
I'm going. I'm gonna take my outfit.
I'm taking the heavy weights and I'm going to try and pick up some bitches.
I don't know, Phil. Statues. No, I don't even like the way I'm classified in this country.
What are you classified as? Yeah,
African American. I've never been to Africa, and I'm not fucking American. It's a lie.
How are you not American?
Not so African, not so American.
How are you not American?
Because when they wrote the Constitution, we weren't changed. You just talked about it.
But you weren't part of that. I don't understand.
But I wasn't a part of this either, and I'm being shot in the streets. So why should I go vote? They don't give a fuck about me.
That's different about being African American.
You know what? I go, yeah, I'm with you, Phil. And then he does a right turn. He shakes it. Allen Iverson is a mental. Phil is a mental Allen Iverson.
Phil,
yes, when you think I think I got him on the right. He's like, Phil.
Here's the thing, Dante. He'll do the crossover, right? He'll shake you off, and then he'll take the ball and throw it in the stands.
All I was
break your ankles and then kick the ball at a fucking peanut vendor.
Like, why did you just score? He's like,
and then he'll start waving his finger in your face and trash
talk. He throws the ball. They go, why didn't you score? You was right under the bat. He was like, I don't even like how I classified in this country. I'm like,
I don't even like basketball.
I'm just saying. Under Obama, I don't think
this sport is for bitches.
You just brought Obama in? I'm curious.
I voted for Obama twice, and I love Obama to this day, right?
Okay.
But I got to see so many black dudes murdered on camera while Obama was in office that I don't think it matters anymore. I'm a second-class citizen, so.
All right, I'm agreeing so far. Throw me off, Phil. Throw me off. What are you gonna say? Come on, I'm with you right now.
That's it.
But and Pokemon is a real thing.
Yeah.
Phil, do you not see what's going on? Like, do you watch the news now and you watch what's going on, or you not watching what's going on?
And I see a lot of what's going on.
Okay, so don't you think that this is what Trump is doing has a difference in civility, even in look, don't get me wrong. Let me finish. It's not that I don't understand that there's the racism exists and so on and so forth. But we're literally talking about somebody who's incompetent to the point where there's 160,000 people dead because this motherfucker doesn't want to acknowledge that motherfuckers are dying. Like he's a sociopath. And so I understand, like Joe Biden's an old white dude who has racist tendencies and creepy misogynist tendencies, smells people's hair and all that. But
and Kamala Harris
he raises so many people light though. He like what's that shit? White Claw. He White Claw.
Low alcohol, low racism levels.
But you also have Kamala, who is a person who was the first black woman to ever be in this position. And I think, I'm in no delusion about the fact that the Democrats have used black people throughout the whole course of everything. I mean, prior, and the Democrats were the Republicans before they were the Republicans. We know that switched right. Because the original Democrats were Dixiecrats from the South. They were all so. But my point being is, Republicans are not even trying to lie to us. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they're not even making an effort to lie to us. They're saying, let's make America great again. Let's take this back where black people are back in their place. And even though when you talk about the Democrats and the fact that they've dropped the ball in lots of places, any of the progress we have was done by liberals, whatever that is. Even though, like, when you talk about John Brown and the emancipators,
as imperfect as it is,
and the abolitionists didn't think that. But the people that were fighting against slavery, they weren't not racist. They were absolutely racist. They just said, well, if we give them love and we treat, they could get to their brains are smaller, but they could get to a station where they could be our equals. And
that's exactly what I'm saying. Of like, you know, even the women's movement, that was never a movement built on their own, like, goes. Whatever. That was basically like, wait, you're going to let the Negroes vote and not us? So that's what I'm saying. We've always been used for this political gain. And even like what we were talking about with the cop killings and all, everyone makes money off of that. You know, years later, fucking Oprah and Ava DuVernay, which we talking about Trump. This motherfucker took out a billboard, you know, for the Central Park 5 and asked to bring the death penalty back. That was in the, you know, late 80s, early 90s.
For guys who weren't even guilty.
For teenagers. And then,
teenagers that weren't even guilty.
And facts.
And then got freed and wouldn't even apologize for it.
Said he didn't believe even after DNA evidence and 10 years in prison, right? But here's my problem with all this bullshit, phony progress. Oprah had a TV show back then. Now she's sitting on the TV on Netflix with Ava DuVernay and she's crying and celebrating the exonerated 5, you know, and their TV show When They See Us won like an Oscar. And she's crying and I'm saying, bitch, you could have helped them then, but that wasn't the popular thing to say. So
I don't know if she had her show on in 1985.
Listen, the trial went on into the 90s.
Fair enough.
You could have done a little thing. Hey, let's try to debate whether or not they were guilty. I understand the emotions that a white woman being raped in Central Park sparked, but let's really look at this thing.
Well, in all fairness, that I would say that all that information wasn't fully out there until years after the fact, Phil.
No, definitely. Yeah. But all I'm saying is when it's popular, it's like the same thing you guys mentioned R. Kelly earlier, where, you know, on Surviving R. Kelly, you got Chance the Rapper sitting there, and it's like, you made a song with him in 2014, and now you're apologizing for it? Like, the P-Tape came out in 2000.
Well, here's the other thing, too. If R. Kelly was kidnapping white girls, it wouldn't have lasted no time.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. It would. Well, yeah, I understand the hypocrisy, but you have to. Here's what you do have to understand: we are race as bad as race relation is. I'm gonna say this last thing is, then we're gonna wrap it up because Harry's looking at me. But
we can keep going. It's all good. I mean, I want to see where Phil goes next at any given point because
here's my
that's
point.
The beauty.
No matter what we talk about in terms of. I understand the how bad it is and what we're seeing. Race relations are better now than they've ever been, ever in the history, and they will be better next year than they were this year. But what we're seeing is the president is emboldening people who are racist, and they're, like you said, these are people that think what they think anyway. But they're also losing their jobs. They're also getting kicked out of their homes. They're also understanding that there are consequences. When you see these Karens and these things, they're doing these things and they're losing their jobs and they're being ousted, and socially that's happening. Whereas here's my point: there was a time when during the emancipation, you were trying to teach Southerners that you just can't murder black people at will. They thought that rape wasn't rape if it was a black woman. Murder wasn't murder if it was a black man. Stealing from a black man as his business or his goods and services, they didn't even think that was a crime.
Right, because science said we were 3/5 of a man, and
exactly.
Our brain was
so
science,
we are.
So it didn't matter. So fuck science. That's first off.
It wasn't
Second
science.
Off,
it wasn't.
As far as Trump
it was
goes,
pseudoscience. You didn't even have the scientific method at that point. So
as far as Trump goes, Trump isn't even in the top 5 most racist presidents. He might be top 5 dumb. But people give him credit, and people like to flip flop on Trump.
I disagree with that.
He's dumb. or that he's inspiring people and that he's this mastermind. It's like when you talked about George Bush and people would be like, George Bush is dumb. Then the next second they'd be like, he also mastermind 9/11. It's like
the problem. Here's the problem.
A nigga can't have a hot streak.
Look, a broken clock is right twice a day. So, but here's what I would say to that. Even what I would say to that, people change the narrative to fit whatever they want to believe in. The problem is, here's what the problem is. The problem is that people are dumb. Moreover than not, people are dumb. And so they're all trying to justify and validate themselves in the context of whatever they perceive truth in. And they're willing to,
the news being fake is not the problem. If you weren't dumb and you didn't believe the fake ass news, we wouldn't need to stop fake news. Like I saw an article that said Magic Johnson was seen donating blood in LA. People in the comments pissed, arguing, and I'm going, this is clearly fake. Why are y'all so dumb? I mean, even with the COVID-19 stuff, you got the WHO trying to stop fake news, and it's like, stop being fucking dumb. They said there's no cure, but you online buying a fake ass cure for $100. Like,
right, but then you have an idiot who is the president goes online and inspires people to go out and say that there's a cure, and inspires people to use Lysol and ingest Lysol because
what you have to know is the demons come out of your vagina. That's what you need to know.
You need to know. The sex demon. I did like her. She was pretty funny.
The demons will come out of your vagina. That's what you need to know.
Miss Cleo is turning over in her grave. What the hell? That was Andre's people, the Jamaicans.
No. Fuck out of here.
He's like, leave me out of this. I don't want none of this.
My neck hurts talking to fucking Phil.
Well, it's from turning. You mean from turning around, going
just
back
tension,
and forth?
Just tension. Just
all I was trying to say is that judging yesterday's people by today's standards, we always gonna get in trouble. Christopher Columbus was a product of his environment. I'm not defending nobody else. I'm just saying.
Just Christopher Columbus. I hear you.
If I was allowed to be a conquistador as a job, maybe that's some shit I would
keep going, Phil. We're way off the road here.
Yeah.
If I could be a conquistador and I had video games, would I work at Google?
And why y'all not mad at Vespucci? Nobody gives a fuck about Vespucci. Just the greatest conquistador. That's it.
Who?
Amerigo
Vespucci.
Vespucci,
Nigga said mass pussy.
Why isn't anybody protesting mass pussy? I mean, this fucking guy.
Mass pussy.
Yo, I'm tired. Yo, check out Andre D. Thompson and Harry.
Check out. Wait, you're blasting through our plugs? Hold on.
Yep.
Yo, hold on. Check out our Amazon page, man.
Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay black.
I am Phil Hunt.
There we go. And check out the Man School 202, the Instagram page, because we're going to be doing a live Instagram show soon. And also the YouTube page.
Yo, I'm going to just go.
Oh, right? Jesus. Oh, Jesus. This is not.
I'm just going.
Oh, this is unprofessional.
All right, I'm later. I'm done. Right. Man School 202 is created by Dante Nero. Hosted by Dante Nero with Harry Terjanian and Andre D. Thompson. Produced by Harry Terjanian. Executive producers Matt Kleinschmidt, Harry Terjanian, and Dante Nero.